You lost more money on that one.
Gaming is for morons. Sandbox gaming is the worst. The absolute worst. Players cannot be trusted. A game master who runs a sandbox campaign, to me, is exactly like a babysitter watching 6 children running around with scissors. Sooner or later, someone's going to get hurt, and the game master's going to get blamed for it. That's what sandbox gaming is. You need to give them structure. Just like children who are starting off bowling, you put bumpers in the gutters. That's what I do. I give you the illusion of the possibility of agency, but really, you're just dancing in the palm of my hand. You never really had a choice. You were going to do what I wanted you to do, no matter what you thought or wanted. And my job is to trick you or fool you or lie to you to make you make the correct decision. That's my job as a game master. And my games run smoothly and everyone has a good time for the most part.
Heathen Dog can have his opinion about sandboxing. It's okay. Sandboxing isn't for everybody. But if you want your sandbox to work, first off, the number one thing, players. Your players have to know that this is going to be a sandbox. Alrighty? So the players have to decide what kind of a group they're going to be, what kind of a collective they're going to be. Are they going to be adventurers? Or are they going to be NPCs? Is basically the gist of it. The reason why I say this is because you're going to have players out there, and this is going to be part one of several parts, because I have to explain this first. The player aspect of this is very important. Now, your players have to be the active adventure types in order for a sandboxing to actually work. If they are the type that want to run away from any kind of potential hook, and then sandboxing isn't for them. If they are the ones that want to just do a simulation where they're farmers towing fields, or let's say one of them wants to buy a tavern and become a tavern owner or a shop owner, then they're just basically being an NPC. So they have to be players that want to actively seek adventure. So they must be seekers of adventure. That is a key thing here. They must be seekers of adventure. If they're not, sandboxing isn't for them. So once you have a group of players that want to become seekers of adventure, you'll be able to, as a game master, perform a sandbox for them. Now, sandbox has to be a combination of, it's not railroads, but you have to have contained environments, because contained environments is what we have in real life as is. For example, this room that I'm sitting in, there is basically 2 ways to reasonably get into this room. One is to go through my front or back door of my house, enter in a series of rooms. One would be through the kitchen, the other way would be through an entryway and then through my living room. And eventually you're going to come to the stairs, and then you're going to go through the stairs and then find the door to my room and walk into it. Is that a railroad? Well, no, that's the way that my house is built. The other way that you could walk in and get into here is by breaking one of my windows from the outside and entering in that way. So that's a second way. Third way is you can enter in through my house and take a chainsaw to the floor and come through that way. So there is technically many ways you can come in, but you know, there's only one location that this room is in, and there is various types of bottlenecks that you have to go through in order to get to this room here. That's the same way with, you know, bad guys and their treasure and that sort of thing. Bad guys aren't going to go ahead and have their treasure sitting out in the open for everyone to take. They're going to have basically a series of fail-safe areas. So they're going to have their treasure room, the treasure room here. And there's going to be basically possibly just only one way in this hallway here. There would be a guard room probably up front. And the reason why this kind of setup is made is because the bad guy does not want you to get the treasure. There's probably going to be a few traps here. There might be a secret doorway here that leads out to perhaps the up into an area where the owner of this treasure, the bad guy, has access to it, so that he can drop down through a hidey hole, come through a secret entrance, and be in his treasure trove. So that could happen as well. So let's say we have guards over here. So this is a basic setup. Is this what people call a railroad? You know, because real life is full of these railroads, if you want to call this a railroad. This is just a situation where the bad guy doesn't want you to get his treasure easily. And it's pretty obvious in real life, a bank would have a vault, would have guards, all that stuff. And there is only just a few ways that you will be able to get that treasure or money or valuables. So, if your monster, the owner of this treasure, is smart, they wouldn't have just the treasure laying out in the middle of nowhere and having the players just come along and pick it up. So, what is your railroad here? So, a railroad is more or less something where there's only one way of getting to a location, even though you can see, say that there is this, well, we'll say that we're going to go with a new map here. This is our new treasure map, all beaten up and everything. A few holes taken out of it. Bugs ate into it here. So this is our treasure map. And our treasure is at location X. And then we have some hills over here. Some big mountains over here. Some hills down below. We have trees all along here. And you have the little tiny village right here with a few dwellings, a road, and then you might have, say, a trail eventually leading to where this location is. Now, a railroad is basically a game master saying, even though despite you seeing there's trees over here, a forest here, more forest here, mountains here, hills over here, you follow this trail and the game master does not allow you to deviate from this trail. He says, no matter what, you can't leave this trail. You can't go see these trees. You can't see these hills over here. You cannot see these mountains. You're going straight towards this location X. That is a railroad. Okay, so that would piss off a lot of players because you can't seek other avenues of adventure. Once you get to this location here, the game master says, nope, there is only one way to get into this this secret dungeon, and you're not allowed to explore any other avenues of getting into it. Alrighty, that is a railroad. So, when you present something like the above example here, guard, traps, to the treasure, that is not a railroad. That is just the way something is set up so that the player it's obvious that the players are not supposed to get to this location easily. So obviously the villain sets things up so that the player has only very, very, very few options of getting to that treasure, because the villain doesn't want the player to have options to get to the treasure. Alrighty, so now that we got that established, okay, we have to get into the aspects of the actual sandbox.